Welcome to my kitchen. We're going to be making a Mediterranean platter today. Probably saw in the cooking instructions that this is the most asked for recipe, and you probably want to know why. Well, because it's delicious, and this recipe has had a number of incarnations over the many years that I've been making it, and so we're going to do the last incarnation this time. So we're going to get started with the first part. Is we're actually going to be cooking some lemon peel. And you wonder, why is she making lemon peel? Well, actually, this was part of the incarnation. And I looked at all of the different recipes for hummus and for babaganoush, and they all have lemon. And I said, well, why not just use all of the lemon? So I started making lemon confit, which is, it's actually not cooked in oil, it's cooked in water. But I'm going to add, you probably think, an obscene amount of salt, but I drain the water. So we're going to cook this while we're making the rest of our platter.
Now I have a question for you, Linda.
Yeah.
When I hear the word lemon confit, I'm very happy because I think of confetti. But my guess is that's not got anything to do with the word confit.
And people are more likely to think about duck confit, which is duck that is actually cooked in its own fat at a very low temperature. But you can confit citrus, which is, by the way, I didn't even know you could confit citrus. This was something that I stumbled upon because I wanted to use up the whole lemon, because that's how I roll. I cook everything. Okay, so the next part is we're going to make the babaganoush next, and just want to show you how to prepare the eggplant. Now, babaganoush is an ancient recipe, and Italians, Mediterraneans, Middle Eastern, Turkish, Lebanese have been using eggplant and nightshade vegetables like peppers and eggplant. Potatoes are also a nightshade vegetable. And all I'm doing is cutting off the ends. And these are what you would consider a small to medium eggplant, and it's the globe variety, which is very common in Italian cooking. But there's all kinds of eggplants. There are Japanese eggplants, white eggplant. They've got a striped eggplant.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, so.
But you only want to use this kind.
No, you can use other kinds, because this is a little bit more bitter than the Japanese eggplant. But the reason I like it, it's got a lot of flesh. And this, I like it when there aren't that many seeds. Some of the bigger ones, the bigger globe variety, will have tons of seeds on the inside, which is where some of the bitterness comes from. Okay, so I'm just going to take some olive oil and brush it on top. And by the way, eggplants are like sponges, and sort of like mushrooms also. If you put mushrooms in a pan with olive oil, you keep on adding olive oil, you keep on adding olive oil, and keep on adding olive oil, and you wonder, well, what is going on here? Well, they're little sponges.
So are you saying that you have to be a little bit disciplined with the olive oil? What are you
Well,
saying?
I'm not disciplined with olive oil at all. It's like I have probably 5 bottles of olive oil in my kitchen as we speak. Okay, and I'm going to put it face down on parchment paper and put put it in a 400-degree oven. Now, excuse me while I run the water here. Along with this eggplant, I'm going to show you how to cook a head of garlic, because we're going to put a head of garlic along with the eggplant in the oven so they can cook along at the same time. But I already made one ahead for you, and it's very, very easy to make. You sort of take all of the kind of paper that clings to the outside of a head of garlic, and whoops, man overboard. Okay, and sharp knife, all you're gonna do is just cut off the top, and I've already got a piece of tin foil waiting, and you know the olive oil that I used for the eggplant?
Nice.
Oh, I'm gonna pour that over this, and a little bit of pepper. By the way, this is a Turkish coffee grind. I use it for fresh pepper because the stuff that you get in the jar, that's dead pepper. This is a live pepper. Yeah. So,
what was that?
salt.
Salt.
Salt. Yes. Okay. Now, we're going to put everything right in the oven.
Oh, I like how efficient that is.
Oh, isn't it?
And the oven temperature is?
400 degrees.
Okay.
But I was thinking ahead of time because you don't want to watch me take things in and out of the oven. Oh, see now this is coming to a real steep boil here. Perfect. So I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. That's going to cook while we're making the rest of the platter.
So to cook the confit, you bring it to boil in the water and then let it simmer?
Well, actually, I've got it. I had it on a rolling boil, which is a high boil, and I brought it down to medium. And I'm watching it. It's still got quite a bit of a rolling boil, but it takes a while to cook this because you know this is the skin of the lemon. It's tough, just like the skin of a grapefruit or a lime. And we're going to eat this. Believe it or not, we're going to drag it through the hummus, and it's delicious. Okay, so since I was ahead of you, we're going to take the skin off of this eggplant because we're going to make the babaganoush next. Yum. Okay, you can see, now I took this out of the oven and I let it cool. And you can just peel the skin off. We're not going to eat the skin. You can eat the skin of eggplant. When I make eggplant parmesan, I keep the skin on. But some people find it bitter. I'm just going to discard that and keep on taking the skin off. Now, what's interesting is I want to show you on this other piece here.
Looks a little bit like cooked chicken.
Look at this underside, and you probably think, ooh, is that burned?
Ooh,
No, that's the sugars.
Yeah, caramelized.
It's caramelized. So, I'm going to take the skin off of that. And, you know, notice that I am taking too much of the eggplant.
So you're scraping.
I'm scraping.
Okay.
Because I don't want to lose any of this delicious caramelized eggplant.
Right.
Oh,
So
see some of the seeds in here? It almost looks like caviar. Well, actually, the Russians make what they call caviar out of eggplant.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, there's a dish made out of eggplant that they call faux caviar or whatever. I forgot what it was. I made it once a gazillion years ago. Yeah, I'm glad I remembered that. I should make that again. Okay, so.
Can I come to dinner when you make it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody wants to come to dinner at this house, and I'm so happy for that. Let me just rinse off my hands a little bit here. And this is this is my time saving. I've only had, believe it or not, 3 food processors ever since, well, 40, 50 years. My first one was a robot coupe, and then I got a Cuisinart, and now I'm on to the KitchenAid. But I use this all the time. But people have asked, why can't you use a blender? Well, the revolution of the motor of a blender is at a higher frequency than that of the Cuisinart, and it actually kind of pulverizes and makes the texture kind of soupy. So we do still want texture.
And just for the record, I'm one of those people who asked that question, why can't I use
That's
my
right.
blender?
You did ask that question. And I did try to make it in a blender. That's why I know that it comes out soupy. Okay, so this is the part of the recipe where we're going to make the babaganoush. And simple. I already have some lemon that I juiced from the lemons that I had taken the peel off of, and I save everything. So fresh lemon juice. And
That looks like about 1/3 of a cup.
yeah,
For those people who like to
quarter of
measure.
a third. Okay, well, cooking is probably why I do better at cooking than I am at baking, because I don't like to over measure things. So, which is you're going to see as we keep on building the babaganoush and building the red pepper spread and then building the hummus, you're going to see that I add and taste and add and taste. So this is about 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and this is a fresh jar. And okay, for those of you who like measuring, I'll measure for you. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of this.
And that is
into
what's
a
in
quarter.
that jar.
And this is ground sesame seeds or tahini, which is sesame paste. But let me show you how tahini starts. Tahini starts with sesame seeds. Now, I've had this jar for a while, and I did toast these ahead of time, and I put them back in the jar, keep them in the refrigerator so that they don't go rancid, because seeds and nuts, you know, have oils, and those oils can go bad.
So did you make or buy?
No, I didn't
okay.
make this tahini, but I have made tahini from scratch from sesame seeds.
That's our next video.
Oh, really? Let's get through this one. Okay, so tahini. Now I'm watching the fact that these 2 eggplants didn't give me tons of flesh, so I'm being very careful to not put too much tahini. And I'm just gonna, this is probably, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And a couple of grinds of pepper. You can also add pepper flakes to this.
Red pepper flakes?
Red pepper flakes. However, I'm not going to, because, by the way, I made these from serrano peppers, and they're really spicy. So I'm gonna hold back on those. Now see this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful head of garlic?
And this came out of the oven on the
This
same
came out of
tray
the
with
oven on the
eggplant.
same tray, and I'm just going to take, you can just do this, squeeze it out. Oh, by the way, I did wash my hands before we started this. Holly, you were witness to me washing my hands.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to save the rest of this for the hummus.
So what did you put, 3 in there, 4?
This is
Cloves?
probably my 4th. I just want to get every bit of it in there, and I'm going to rinse my hands again. Pardon the sound. Okay, let's see. What else goes in here? Lemon juice, tahini, salt, pepper, garlic, and I'm holding back on this. Oh yes, it was recommended that you put a little bit of vinegar. If I had pomegranate vinegar, I would use it, but I don't have that. I'm just gonna put a touch. And anything that has acid will actually soften and smooth the bitterness that's natural to eggplant.
So is that red wine vinegar?
That's red wine vinegar. Okay, do your magic. I'm gonna pulse this because I don't wanna over blend this. Let's see. Holly, I'm gonna just take this out and you can see the texture.
Yes.
Ooh, that smells delicious. Put it back on.
Oh, I just got a whiff of it.
Did you get a whiff?
I just got a whiff. Yum.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this a little bit more. Yep, a little bit smoother. You see the difference? Just a couple of more pulse, and it made it a little smoother. Okay, I'm gonna take this out. I'm just gonna put this aside because I'm gonna put this right back in because I'm gonna use some of this as this is now babaganoush. You can use this with pita bread, you can use it with veggies, and I'm leaving about that much in the bowl. And put it back. And now for the red pepper spread, which really is babaganoush with red peppers in it.
Is babaganoush an Indian dish?
Middle Eastern. However, you know, Indian recipes, Middle Eastern recipes, Armenia, Lebanon, Egypt.
Okay, what's going in here now?
Okay, I just got myself distracted because I want to put these, and I'm not even draining these from the jar. This happens to be twice the size jar I told you guys to buy. It just was the one that I had on hand, but you can buy a smaller. This is a 15 ounce. You can buy like a 8 ounce bottle, but. And I think that looks about enough. I think I've got probably 2 peppers in there. Okay. I'll put this aside. That's the babaganoush. Oh, yum. Okay. Now we have a spread. Ooh, of eggplant and red peppers. Do we have smell-o-vision here, Holly?
Yes, yes.
Ooh, yum, that smells delicious. Okay, but you know what? I want a little bit more color. So I'm gonna add another piece of pepper. Okay, how are the lemons doing?
I can hear it bubbling.
You hear them bubbling?
Burbling.
Okay, so that's about half of a pepper. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. This is what I'm looking for.
Nice.
It's
Nice
got a
color.
nice pink. Now what I'm gonna actually
Perfect
do
fall color.
is I'm gonna put that in a bowl. And put it in the refrigerator to let it tighten up. You can buy eggplant red pepper spread in some grocery stores. I know Trader Joe's carries a version of this. Okay.
But it can't be nearly as good as your version.
I just like making everything. It's homemade, it's fresh. So can you see it kind of jiggles a little bit? We're gonna tighten it up by putting it in the refrigerator and then we'll add it to our plate.
Okay.
So we're gonna put this in the refrigerator and let it tighten up. So Holly, this would be a good place to pause so we can clean up the kitchen a little bit.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. While we were paused, we cleaned up the kitchen and cleaned out the food processor. And I need to check on how the lemon is doing. So just want to see how this is cooking. You went, oh, you mean we're going to eat that? It's delicious. Yes, we are.
So it doesn't resist when you poke the knife?
No,
and it doesn't go, ow, ow.
Well, it did, but I'm sparing you. Yep. Okay, as a matter of fact, I am not even going to put this back on the stove because this is done. Actually, it cooked faster than I thought. So let me just put it over here, get it out of the way.
And going back to the eggplant, we were talking while we paused and you were cleaning up the kitchen, and you said the eggplant that you cooked was only about 20 minutes in the oven?
Well, it was about 25, 30 minutes, and I think it had to do with the fact that it was a very, very fresh eggplant, and it was a small eggplant and didn't have a lot of the big seeds in it, and it cooked really, really fast at 400 degrees. I mean, some of these bigger eggplants, you still have to, poke the skin, while it's been in the oven for 25, 30 minutes to make sure that it pierces the whole and it's nice and soft.
Gotcha.
So we're going to move on to the hummus. And hummus is pretty ubiquitous. I mean, a lot of you can find all different kind of brands in the grocery store, and pretty much they're pretty good. But I got to tell you, none is as good as homemade. So this recipe that I'm using is a can of, these aren't garbanzo beans. These are either white kidney beans, great northern beans, cannellini beans. It's this 3 different names for the same bean. And then, of course, this is the bean that most people use for hummus. Chickpeas. Or ceci, C-E-C-I, chickpeas, garbanzo, same bean.
But most people do think it's just chickpeas, not chickpeas and cannellini beans.
Well, when I was making, this was a number of years ago, I went to make some hummus, and I went into my pantry, and I pulled out a can of garbanzo beans, not this particular brand, and I looked for the other can. I couldn't find it. And so I said, I wonder if I could use this. Well, from now on, except when I make garbanzo beans from scratch, and I'll tell you about that a little later, the texture of a cannellini bean is smoother and silkier than the texture of a garbanzo bean, so it makes for a smoother hummus, which is why people said, did you make this? How come it's so creamy? So
that's Linda's secret.
That's the reason.
Okay.
So we're going to start with actually saving some of the liquid, and we're going to save the liquid from the garbanzo beans. And by the way, you can make vegan whipped cream, vegan faux whipped cream from whipping up the juice of garbanzo beans. So,
really?
Yeah.
Next lesson.
Yeah, next lesson. Okay, so I'm saving this. Oh, wow, this is really tight. Oh, wow, these are beauties. You can really tell a good product. These happens to be an organic garbanzo bean. I don't know if that makes a difference, but okay, what I'm going to do is I'm saving this liquid. We're going to use this, and I'm going to rinse these. A little water doesn't hurt. The blade is in. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the cannellini beans. Only I'm going to just save a little bit of this.
So you're not saving all of the
We don't need
juice
all of
from
it.
the cannellinis. Okay.
And I'm going to rinse that. There's a little bit of sodium, so I'm just kind of rinsing off some of the starchy stuff and the sodium, because you wanna adjust your salt so that's not too salty. Okay, so there we go. There's our start. Okay, now remember that beautiful, beautiful garlic? Well, you can make hummus from raw garlic. If you do make it from raw garlic, what I do is I put my garlic in first, even before I put the beans, and I pulse it so I can kind of pulverize it a little bit. But we're going to use the roasted garlic. And by the way, you can buy roasted garlic hummus. You can buy pepper spread hummus, which was similar to just taking roasted red peppers and pulsing them and putting on the top of your hummus. And
this is that original bulb of garlic that you roasted.
yes,
And the first 4 cloves went into the babaganoush, and now the rest of it is going into this, into the hummus.
and this is a messy process. But you know what? If you could smell how delicious this absolutely delicious garlic is. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to rinse my hands. And so we get into the building of the hummus part. So, okay, I've washed this ahead of time, and this is how I like to take the zest off of a lemon, which is upside down, because then you can see how much of the zest actually goes onto your rasp or microplane. This happens to be a microplane. It's actually labeled microplane.
Which we discovered the other
Which,
day
yes,
when
we did.
I asked the question, what is a microplane?
Well, some people actually call it a rasp. However, that's also a woodworking tool, I believe, a rasp.
Yes. In fact, that's what I thought it was when I opened your kitchen drawer.
It's amazing what's in those drawers. So I'm taking the zest off of the whole lemon because I've made a double recipe of hummus, of the chickpeas and cannellini beans. Okay, got a bunch of zest. Just tap it in. And of course you're adding a citrus flavor, which gives it just a freshness. Now, I'm going to save this lemon because I'm going to do something else with it. And I'm going to go back to the lemon that I had squeezed before for the baba ganoush. And I'm just going to, okay, those of you who like measuring, let's see, we're going to start with 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. And again, those of you who like measuring, I'm going to do about 1/4 cup of tahini. I'm going to take some salt. I'm going to start, that's about 1/2 teaspoon. Same thing, pepper. So these are the building blocks of the hummus. Now that actually looks like maybe 1/2 teaspoon. It looks like a lot.
It did indeed.
It did indeed. Okay. Now here's the secret. I haven't found this in any recipe book, but I use toasted sesame oil because it's, smell it, Holly. Isn't that yummy? It's a very, very concentrated. Now,
yes.
literally, you just use a little bit so people said, oh my God, this is such good hummus. Now, you see, that's all I'm doing. Okay. Now, okay, when I start to pulse this, it's going to look pretty grainy. Okay. Okay. Now I'm just going to let it run. So I want to show you what this looks like at this particular point. It's really thick. You can see how thick it is.
Yep.
Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to taste this. Keep a lot of spoons in your kitchen, and I can tell right away. Already. Okay, so another half a teaspoon of salt, and I know it needs more pepper.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it does.
Well, it's a double recipe. Maybe
Because
that's
it's a
why.
double recipe. That's probably about a quarter of a teaspoon.
And is the recipe that everybody got in their kit also the double recipe?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, juice. Now, if you noticed, I have
That's
only...
juice from the chickpeas or the cannellini?
This is, well, mostly the garbanzo and a little bit of the cannellini, because
Okay.
I saw that the can did not have as much juice. Now, that's what I'm adding to this.
But not all of it.
I probably put in maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons and a little bit, just a little bit of olive oil.
Are you using EVO?
EVOO. Because, I mean, I cook with olive oil. I finish or use in recipes extra virgin olive oil. And it's just a finer processing. So now, let's turn this baby on and see. Okay, so Holly, I'm going to show you again that you can see that that's still kind of grainy looking.
Yeah, a little.
Okay, well, I'm going to add the rest of this juice because I know that's exactly what it needs. And do it again. Now guess what? You let it run and run and run and run some more. Still running. Because it's going to make, you can already see how it's getting smoother and smoother and smoother. So, ooh, yum. Look at the difference. See the difference in how smooth it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but let's go in for taste. Another spoon. Needs a little bit more lemon. So I'm going to say that's about a teaspoon. The lemon, or anytime you put any kind of acid into something, it always brightens things. So I'm just going to make this a little brighter. Another spoon. I don't want to cross-contaminate.
No.
It needs a little bit more lemon. And I'm actually going to put in a little bit more tahini. So now I think we're probably another spoon, up to maybe 1/3 of a cup of the tahini. I hope this isn't confusing you guys, but this is how you build something. You keep on tasting it and tasting it. And I'm going to put just a tiny bit more sesame oil, just to give it a little bit more of a sesame taste.
So the secret to this recipe is to use that printed recipe you got in your box as a starting point, and then design to taste.
And then build. And in the recipe directions, it does say that you're going to be building the hummus. That is yummy. And believe it or not, it needs a little bit more salt. So I'm putting in maybe half a teaspoon of salt. And now, where did I put my cumin? Oh,
And can you tell us what kind of salt you're using?
this is kosher salt, but I mean, you can use, I mean, I have all kinds of sea salts. You can use sea salt. Do not use iodized salt. It's too bitter. Okay, this is just a container of cumin, and just literally a pinch. I'm just going, well, maybe 2 pinches. I can tell by looking.
Now, why is your cumin not in a brand label jar?
Well, because I bought seeds and I ground it myself. So, but smell. Can you smell the difference? It's just.
I love cumin. Okay.
I'm so glad you like cumin.
I might have to do that at home.
Oh, I ran out of spoons. Well, let's see. Let's rinse this one off and try this. This might be the last one. Let's see how good it is or not. It's just the right amount of cumin.
Perfect.
Okay, now what we're going to do is we've got all of our ingredients ready, and we're going to pause here and come back and chop up some lemon. Welcome back. While we were paused, I cleaned up the kitchen because it was a mess, and because this is a messy process, because there's lots of steps, and tested to see if indeed the lemons were done, and they are. They're perfect. So what we're going to do is just chop them. We're going to eat that? Yes, we are going to eat this, and you can't begin to tell you.
Trust her when she says it's delicious.
Oh, that's right. Holly took a bite. What do you think, Holly? Did you?
It's not at all what you expect. It is just delightful lemon.
It's kind of like soft lemon, like the kind of lemon taste that you would get in a lemon curd or a lemon meringue pie.
That's a good description.
It's got that kind of sweetness. Now, it's natural sweetness because it's a citrus. And you saw how much salt I put in. I probably put in a good teaspoonful of salt. You think, oh, that's going to be too salty. But it's not.
Not at all. Not at all.
Now, I am...
However, the juice left in the pan was quite salty.
That was quite salty.
But
yes.
not the lemon itself.
As you can see, this takes a little bit of time because I actually do want it to be at the size so that you're not getting a huge piece of lemon, because it kind of blends in with the hummus, and you might wonder, gee, what is that on the side of the platter? Well, when we build this platter, you're going to see where I put it on the platter, and just invite people to drag a piece of the pita triangles. Okay, you know what? I think that's pretty darn good. And actually, these 4 lemons made a lot.
That's how many you used? 4 lemons?
Yeah, I used 4 lemons, and oh, I know why. Those were really big lemons. I lucked out at the grocery store. As you can see, this is what I mean. This is a huge lemon. So I think that's why I have so much of this lemon confit. Okay, so we're going to be adding artichoke hearts. Very simple. You can get artichoke hearts in water or marinated hearts. But the marinated hearts have a little bit more of an Italian taste to them, so I opted to just use the ones that are in water. So, simple. I'm going to get rid of the water. It's another building block. And okay, so the other building block are pepper rings. This is going to add a little heat to the platter. This is not
Now, you and I had quite a discussion about the
Oh,
difference
that's right.
between banana peppers and pepperoncini, and what did you discover?
Well, they're both capsicum, which is pepper, variety of pepper. And there's a scale called the Scoville scale
Oh, yes.
of hotness. You know, like ghost peppers are like, will send you to Mars. And then you've got like the banana peppers or the shishito peppers from Japan. These banana peppers are not as hot as pepperoncini on the Scoville scale.
Okay.
I happen to like a little bit of bite because this is not a spicy recipe. It's rich, it's flavorful, there's a variety of textures, and putting a little heat in, and really seriously, this is a little heat. This is not a hot pepper.
Because these are the banana peppers,
These are the
not
banana
the
peppers.
pepperoncinis.
Not pepperoncini, which I have used before, but this also has a softer skin than the pepperoncini. The pepperoncini's skin is thicker than the skin of a banana pepper. So that's another reason.
Okay.
Okay, so guess what? We're gonna build. We're gonna build this. And when I say build it, okay, look at all this stuff we've
What
got.
have you got on the counter here?
Well, so we have the babaganoush, we have the hummus, we have the red pepper spread, artichoke hearts, the chopped lemon. These are marinated olives, Middle Eastern. We have toasted sesame seeds, and this was one of the items. And this is I've only come across this zhoug sauce, Z-H-O-U-G, in the last year because I was really looking at different condiments from different countries. This is a Yemenese recipe. Now, I've made this from scratch. It's not hard to make. However, Trader Joe's is now carrying it, so I said, you know what? That just saves me a step. Okay, now we're going to build this. Okay, so this is what I've done in the past. I have taken the hummus and just layer it. And I might you know what? Just save a little bit for a sandwich. Okay, I'm going to be running out of equipment here. Oh, here's a spoon. Okay, and then this down the middle of the plate, just to separate, because you're going to be dragging the pita wedges through. And here's your babaganoush. Okay. Let me just rinse this off because I need to use this. Running out of spoons. Okay, so your
Now we have the olives.
olives.
Oh, I love the array of colors so far.
And of course, a lot of this is pretty neutral in color, but I'm going to solve that
Shades
problem in a minute.
Shades of earth tones.
Shades of earth tone is right. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of this zhoug over here. Put a little bit over here. People can get at the zhoug. I got to rinse this again. I didn't plan all of the spoons I was going to need. Okay. The lemon. I'll put a little over here just to give a little balance. Because all of these play well together, you know, they play well together. Okay, so, oh, I forgot to put the pepperoncini. Okay. Oh, planning ahead. Okay, let's put this over here. Now, gilding the lily, so to speak.
So here we have cilantro.
No, this, you can use cilantro, but traditionally parsley is used. But I have used both parsley and cilantro together. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I just gotta go down the middle of the platter. Hands. Sesame seeds. Again, I've roasted these. I just put them back in the jar so people know that there are sesame seeds in everything. Okay. Rinsing my hands.
So that was probably not more than 1/8 of a cup that you just sprinkled across the top.
Thanks for saying that. I keep on forgetting about giving you guys measurements. Okay, so you can use a little bit of smoked paprika, and I would put that just on the top, the pepper spread, a little bit on the hummus, just to give a little color, and a drizzle of olive oil on the top. Yeah, right down the middle.
Now that's a surprise.
Yeah, that's how they serve it in the restaurants. They serve olive oil and sesame seeds on the top. Now, pardon a little bit of the mess that's here, but this is how you serve your Mediterranean platter. And with yummy sides for dipping. So literally you take a wedge and you can start building your wedge by just dragging it through the different ingredients here. And so every time you might want to try it with the pepperoncini in the hummus or the red pepper spread. And this was a surprise for people when they thought that this was something else other than lemon. And they said, oh, that's a surprise, that's delicious. And of course, you can just take